Wow, it's all about the new normal, right? So on January 4th, I had a new normal experience. So I'm living this right now. After 15 years of the United States Olympic Committee, I was laid off. And so now I'm thinking about, what is it? All I want for Christmas is, what is it? Fish sandwich, baby. So that's what I'm trying to get to. New normal. What Justin said is absolutely true. I tell stories. I make a point to those stories, my point. I then make an application to the audience. And then we do some type of an activity to lock in adult learning, so we do experiential learning. And from that, we get information back, which becomes action steps that you can take to your groups. And you circle those top 3 or top 4, and that becomes your, maybe your thing for the next quarter. So let's begin. The new normal. New represents, I believe, no prior point of reference, and the normal is the everyday typical occurrence of a thought, idea, or a situation. So I had to learn this. I was sitting in the gate waiting area in the San Francisco International Airport on October the 30th. I am reading a USA Today newspaper. I'm wearing shorts, which exposes my artificial leg. About 20 yards from me, I begin to hear this conversation. 2 boys, about 5 and 7, are talking to their mother, and these 2 boys have made a new discovery. Mommy, look at that guy's leg with her. See that guy's leg? There goes Robot Man. So I chuckled, but I went back to reading my USA Today newspaper. Then something else happened. There began to be this outer speak conversation that really should remain inner speak conversation about the 2 boys, 5 and 7, who had just discovered Robot Man. Shut those kids up. Get them out of here. Bad mother. Wow, that's interesting. But I went back to reading my USA Today newspaper, and out of the corner of my eye, I see the woman. She gets up, she begins to walk in my direction with her 2 boys, and I think she's gonna do like the song says, and just walk on by. But no, she stops, leans in, and says, "Excuse me, sir, my children, they are fascinated by your artificial leg. Seems like you overcome so much adversity. You're such an inspiration. Would you please tell them what happened?" No one has ever asked me in such a public setting, what's happened to my artificial leg? And now I'm thinking about it. Why does she think I've overcome so much adversity? I could have been just born this way. Why does she think I'm an inspiration? I mean, I can be an axe murderer. I'm not. Yet. And why is everybody else that had that outer speak conversation that really should remain inner speak conversation now leaning in? And in the space between her question and my response, I found my answer. You see, I did not overcome the adversity, because 6.5 years earlier, on May the 24th, I'm in Wesley Medical Center in Wichita, Kansas. I'm lying on a hospital bed. My wife, Alice, is holding on to my left hand. My parents are on the opposite side of the bed. John Jr., 5.5 years old, at the foot. And the pain was unbearable. Dr. Randy Mullins walks into the room, white lab coat on, stethoscope around his neck, clipboard in his hand, says, "Mr. Register, you got a tough choice to make. You can keep your leg and use a walker or a wheelchair for the rest of your life, or I can amputate your leg and you can use a prosthesis for the rest of your life." Now, what kind of choice is that? You see, just 7 days earlier, on May 17th, 1994, I'm on the Army's world-class athlete program team. I've just gotten off the bus in Hays, Kansas. I am now the 8th fastest 400-meter hurdler in the United States, top 20 in the world, and USA Today Track and Field News has just pegged me to make the Olympic team in 1996. I get off that bus, the wind's blowing really hard, and I'm running those 300 hurdles, 400 hurdles, and I'm having trouble with my steps. I'm approaching each hurdle at the speed of about 8.7 meters per second, which equates to what? Absolutely, really fast, right, really fast. So I'm going really fast over these hurdles. I'm a right leg leader, but I'm having trouble with the wind blowing that day. And when I approach the 3rd hurdle, I realize I'm going to be short and have to take that hurdle with my left leg. So I launch myself off the right leg, go across the hurdle with the left leg, land, hit the ground in order to run out. And when I hit the ground this time, I hear, my body sails and shifts in the air, and I see my left shin pass in front of my face. My shoulders hit the ground, and I bounced to a halt. I did a quick once over my body. My shoulders okay, waist is okay. When I saw my knee, My patella had risen 3 inches up my femur bone. My left leg's now canted across my right leg with my foot touching the black surface clay of the track. Now let me stick a pin right there and step off the track for just 1 second. A really sharp second lieutenant took 9 pictures that day. I'm going to show you one, but I want to give you a little pause so that you can look away if you want to see what's going on in this picture, or you can do like this. Okay. So this is what's happening in this picture. My foot's here. The dislocation is here. My head's down here. Dion Napier is holding on to me. Ben Cure, to know I'm supposed to go to officer candidate school with, us here. Roz is holding my hand here. I have no idea whose ashy legs these are right there. Let me step back on the track. The only thing I could think about in that one moment was just get up. Come on, John, just get yourself up, John. Just push yourself. Come on, get yourself up, push yourself up. Oh, God! Oh, God! And then 90 minutes later, as my teammates were singing songs and hymns to keep me calm, 90 minutes later, as they were trying to console me, 90 minutes later, the ambulance came. I was put in the back and whisked off to Hayes Medical Center, where another doctor in a white lab coat said, "Mr. Register, looks like you got a bit of a problem. I'm going to have to fix that." So he bore down that crooked leg. We're going to do this on 3. 1. My legs swelled, I passed out, and I really don't remember what happened for the next 7 days. I was in and out. I don't remember how I got to Wesley in Wichita. I don't remember my wife or my family there. All I remember was her holding on to my left hand, Dr. Mullins coming in saying that you got a tough choice to make. Now, I said to him, I know it has to be amputated. He says to me, we'll begin tomorrow night, and everything goes so fast that I'm now in the hospital bed at 11 o'clock at night in the most pain I've ever realized, and I began to rethink my decision to have the amputation. And I thought that I would just call out for the nurses to come, but the tubes that had been down my throat made the sound too inaudible to get their attention. So there I sat in that bed for the next 8 hours with my dangerous thoughts. Who am I now? What's my identity? My wife gonna stick around? Is my son still gonna see me as his dad? Am I still gonna have a job in the Army? Can I support my family? My Olympic dreams are over. 7 o'clock, Dr. Randy Mullins comes back in the room, sees I've done a 180-degree shift. He immediately calls my wife, Alice, who comes running back in. She's been at the hotel trying to manage herself, me, our son John Jr., her mother-in-law. Takes them 45 minutes to get me out of the bed, into a wheelchair, wheeled out to an inaccessible playground where I'm parked, watching my son and my wife play on the swing sets, and I couldn't push myself out of that chair. First time I felt devalued, dejected, disabled. My wife comes running over to me and wraps her arms around me and says, "What is wrong?" And I began to articulate to her all of my fears I had the night before. And then she said the words that stopped my downward spiral. "You know what, John? We're going to get through this together. It's just our new normal. It's just our new normal." John Jr., as I'm thinking about those words, jumps off the swing set, hits the ground. "Hey, Dad, you see my big jump? Dad, you see my big jump?" Comes running over to me in between myself and my wife. And he had just validated me as his father and had created his new normal. That's what I had to do. So I folded up my USA Today newspaper and I placed it down by my side, and I looked back at the woman and her 2 kids. I said, "I don't think I've overcome what you think I've overcome, because if I overcame the amputation of my left leg, I would have my leg back, and I don't. So let's explore what's happened here. I think what I've overcome is actually my self-stigma I had. What I overcame was the negative stigma of others, other people believing for me what I could or could not do, which was based upon what they believed they could or could not do if they were the person who was the amputee. And finally, other people's stigma or cultural stigma. Those cultural stigmas are the ones, those individuals of the society that we believe in. Was it me looking at Captain Hook? Captain Hook's an amputee. Captain Hook's a villain in Peter Pan. So now before I see myself as a villain, because I'm the amputee? When I go down to Brooke Army Medical Center, we have the best burn unit that's down there with our service members who've come back from Iraq and Afghanistan, and we tell them now they need to be the Freddy Kruegers in their children's dreams. How dare we? So how do we get over that? How do we push past that? I believe it has to do with this. One way is we rebuild. We can rebuild, and then we go from there and we redefine our lives, and from there we can have this release. But it's really not the rebuilding, because in rebuilding and resilience, rubber band snaps back to its original spot. It doesn't happen. It never goes back to its original spot. My leg's gone, I can't rebuild that. I have to have a rebirth. The rebirth then can have a resolve to the redefining, because I'm redefining not me for myself, but myself for others. Other people are holding me back here where I've shifted over here. Now I can have this resolve to be in this next spot. And the final thing is, then I can now be liberated after I've completed that process. And that's what we do. That's what you do all the time. You are trying to get your individuals that you are working for, that are your customer, the people that are coming to your conferences, you're trying to get them to release, to have something that's greater for them, to embrace this new normal that you're trying to present to them every single day. So the woman then asked me, what happened next, Mr. Register? And I said, glad you asked. In my new normal, I started swimming for physical therapy. I got so fast in the water that I somehow fluked up, messed up, and actually made the Paralympic swim team. I thought it was funny too, because I went from a 400-meter hurdler to an African-American swimmer. In my book, we just didn't do that sport too much. And then I saw athletes on the track running with artificial legs, and I had a leg made for running, and then 4 short years later, I wound up winning the silver medal in the Paralympic Games in Sydney, Australia. A reporter asked me after those games were over, said, John, with prosthetics technology, do you think you could run as fast as Michael Johnson and jump as far as Carl Lewis again? And I said, as I embrace my new normal, I said, I don't think I can. But God forbid if Carl Lewis or Michael Johnson actually lost a leg, could they run as fast or jump as far as I do? And that's the whole process. That's where we're at. That gets us to where we are. There's a woman said, that was just like on October 23rd. I said, yes, it was October 23rd. Well, that's like 7 days ago. I said, I know, and I just happened to have that silver medal in my pocket. And I pulled it out, and I placed it around that little boy's neck. Young man right there in the blue shirt, what's your name? Greg. Greg, would you come up here and be that little boy for me right now? Yes, you a little boy right there, okay. And I put around, his name was Greg's neck right there. And then he put around his brother's neck. So when you go back to your seat, just begin to share it around the room. And then I quickly put it back in my pocket. So the last person that has it, please get back to me so I can put it back in my pocket. And I thought that was the most amazing thing. So here's what happened. The woman was a hero to me. What great risk she took to come over to ask and give an opportunity. You do the same thing for everybody that you are called to work for, your clients. The second thing was everybody else in the gate waiting area, their conversation shifted, they changed. How cool is that? That was the most amazing thing I've heard. Their children's lives will never be the same. What conversations are changing for you because of you showing up? And then finally, me, how many times did I miss it because I was into myself? We always do that because you've been hearing time and time again with every single speaker that's coming up on stage, we got to take a self-assessment first. So my final slide is this. You are the inspirations. I believe that inspiration is a catalyst to motivation. Motivation in turn causes actions. Actions lead us to transformational results. And those transformational results re-inspire us or allow someone else that's watching the process to catch the vision. Embrace your new normal. My name's John Register. Go forth, inspire your world. Thank you.
I got you, sir.